Hello and welcome, good evening, Merry Christmas. Yes, it's the Manchester United versus Sunderland preview. It feels like a long time since we played a game. A week tomorrow, in fact. But Manchester United versus Sunderland, Manchester United versus 3 easy points. I'll eat my shoes if we don't win this one. It is absolutely nailed on. But there's a lot to discuss for what is essentially quite an easy game, I believe, for Manchester United to win. I think first of all we need to discuss Moyes versus Mourinho. There is an interesting point to this, and I'm anti-stats. I am anti-stats. Passes completed. Fellaini was, I think, top at the end of August, having played 3 games for Manchester United. Fellaini was top for passes completed, with his 5-yard crab passing side to side. Nonsense. Stats are an absolute nonsense. And, Herrera's stats will be a lot worse than Fellaini's passing stats because Herrera takes risks. That's why stats are nonsense. Moyes, in his first season at this time of the season, just before Christmas, had 27 points. Mourinho's got 30. Only 3 points in it. Where in reality, and this is where stats gets blown apart, where in reality there is an absolute abyss. You can't even quantify the gap between Moyes' Manchester United and Mourinho's Manchester United, even though it was only 3 points. It just shows you stats are an absolute nonsense. Stats don't mean anything. It's about what you know and what you see. Manchester United under Mourinho compared to Moyes is like chalk and cheese. Or let's be blunt, it's like I'm gonna offend somebody. It's like Blackpool and Barcelona. There's just a world of difference. And Moyes, you know what? David Moyes, before I come to my Manchester United lineup, David Moyes winds me up. Not many things do really agitate me and make me angry. Apart from, why would anybody have blue Christmas lights in their living room? I was walking back from the town today, been to the Panto, looking at people's Christmas lights, being nosy as I walk back, and very nice decorations in people's windows. And a couple of people actually had blue Christmas lights in their living room with their lights off. So their whole room is like neon blue. It must be sat like, you have the family around. It's like Papa Smurf and the gang around. I mean, God knows, must give you a bloody headache as well. However, Moyes winds me up as well. Yet again, he said it loads of times, but yet again, interviewed, comes out with, I wasn't given enough time at Manchester United. Anybody would have struggled after Sir Alex, even Mourinho and Guardiola. What a crock of shit. I don't like swearing, but this man makes me want to swear. He was given the keys to the kingdom. He smashed it all up, pissed all over it, and then wants more time to do even more damage. No. And you bought Fellaini. You're an absolute cretin. I never wanted you at the club, and friends and everybody will know that. I didn't want Moyes. Never wanted him. I wanted him to be sacked within the first few weeks when we started losing games. Don't like Moyes. Never wanted him. Totally out of his depth. In fact, he'd be out of his depth in a school playground puddle. Never should have been given the job. And the fact that he comes out with nonsense and the media let him come out with nonsense like, I wasn't given enough time. You were given, how long was he at the club? Was he given about 10 months? Well, for me, you were given 11 months too long. You never even should have had an interview for the job. That was too long. An absolute farce as a manager. He talks about excuses like people, like anybody would have struggled after Sir Alex. No, mate. No. I'm not having that. Retract. Nobody would have struggled as much as you did because you arrogantly walked in and got rid of an entire backroom staff and thought you could come in and do the job, appointing Steve Round and Phil Neville and other absolute out-of-their-depth people, probably nice people, but out-of-depth people, and replace them with a proven winning backroom staff. That was your biggest mistake, bar none. Second to that, you spent all summer flirting with Fabregas, who was never going to sign for you, and we ended up with bloody Fellaini. You were an absolute farce in the transfer window. You were an absolute idiot getting rid of all the backroom staff and totally arrogant. And then you made a mockery of us, an absolute mockery. I mean, you're so lucky that Leicester have won the title because their defence of it has been worse than what you did. But I've got no sympathy for Moyes. I applaud, and I know Ross is going to the match on Boxing Day, I applaud anybody who applauds Moyes when he walks into Old Trafford onto the pitch on Boxing Day. Personally, I wouldn't have a problem if people pelted him with tomatoes because really that's what he deserved. He set the club back 3 or 4 years. Do not doubt that. He brought Fellaini to the club and he brought a lot of bad things to the club. And the thing that is, he says that he could do, Mourinho or Guardiola would struggle for what he did. Mourinho's only been here the same amount of time you've had, and he's taken on. You took over with the league champions and the best manager there's ever been. Mourinho's taken over from not only your mess, 2 years of Van Gaal's mess as well, and already we are poles and poles apart. And the big difference, David, if you are watching, which I'm sure you're not, because you've probably got your head up your backside again, the big reason you will never ever be a Manchester United manager and never should have been given a Manchester United manager is, I'll go back to it. You were given the keys to the kingdom, you were given a summer to sort it out, and you did not know what to do. You were like a rabbit in headlights, like a virgin in a brothel. You didn't know where to put your hands or what to do next. Mourinho comes in, 4 very quick, efficient signings. Breaks the world transfer record, Pogba. One of the best strikers in the world, Zlatan. One of the best midfielders in Europe, Mkhitaryan. And one of the best up-and-coming centre-backs in Bailly. Efficient, his first summer, boom, 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 boom. There you go. Could Moyes do it? No, because no player is stupid enough to ever want to come and play for him. He's flawed on so many levels, and he does wind me up, and I apologise for that. However, 3 easy points on Boxing Day. I hope we beat them 7 or 8-0. I don't like Sunderland anyway. I'll never forget when the Aguero goal went in a few years ago and we lost the title because of that goal, and they were all doing the old Poznan or whatever like that. I'd love them to get relegated, and actually, it'd be absolutely brilliant if Sunderland got relegated, managed by Moyes. That would be perfect. It'd be right up there with Liverpool blowing the title on the last day. But my team for this, there's only Luke Shaw out. Mkhitaryan and Bailly are back. Rest in peace, Sunderland. So my goal, my team would be very, very... this is my team, and I'll tell you what I think Mourinho do. De Gea in goal, Valencia right back. I would play Jones and Bailly as centre-backs, and I would play... Daley Blind at left back. I'd play Carrick, Herrera, Pogba because they pick themselves in that midfield role. Mkhitaryan comes in on the right. On the left, I'd play Martial, and up the front, I'd play Zlatan. That team would beat most teams in the Premier League. It will absolutely batter Sunderland. What Mourinho I think will do: Valencia, obviously De Gea in goal, Valencia right back, Jones and Rojo, Darmian at left back, Carrick, Herrera, Pogba, the same as I would go with. I don't think he'll play Mkhitaryan from the start. I think he'll probably play Mata out on the right, Rooney on the left, and Zlatan up front, and that's what I think he'd go with. But we should be winning this game. 100% we should be winning this game. I've got no fear about us winning the game. And I apologise because I've not put the live comments on, which is always a little bit annoying when I go into a rant about something and I totally forget about it. So we'll get it up for you there. But yeah, we will win this game. I think we'll beat Borough again on New Year's Eve. It's been, score prediction wise, says Quacko Frimbong. I'm going to go... I'll be disappointed if we don't beat them by more than 3 goals. Any result's good, but our goal difference is poor. So I'm going to go right out there. I'm going to go 4-0. I think we can do that. I think they'll park the bus though. But it would just wind me up even more if Sunderland somehow were able to produce a result against Manchester United. I think that would be absolutely ridiculous. But it's got to be 3 easy points. We need to win the game. Comments are up. Skulls Legend 18. I apologise for that. But yeah, anything else from the press conference? No. What I wanted to mention was Schneiderlin, and this is from Dimarzio. Now, a lot of people say, where do you get your... we're very good on transfers. We've got a proven track record with it. Last summer was amazing, and I know a lot of you sort of joined us or were part of the United stand there, and we were right on everything. Embolo, and... Nathaniel Klein was before that, but we had about an 80% success rate predicting it before anybody else because of what we're being told, and that's if anyone can get 80% on transfers, then they're doing very well. Dimarzio's come out today. I caught it late, but I always sit up and listen when Dimarzio mentions Manchester United because he is very, very good, and he's basically said that Schneiderlin and Memphis to Everton for 40 million. I throw that to you now while I ramble a little bit because I want to see what people want to say about this, but one, it's come from Dimarzio. He's very, very good. I don't shout many people out, but he is very, very good when he mentions Manchester United. 2, Schneiderlin for 20 million. 40 million for Schneiderlin and Memphis, I think is not bad business, considering we paid 24 million for Schneiderlin and 25 million for Memphis. So that's 50. So we're getting nearly that back. Ideally, I would like Memphis to be going on a loan. I think Schneiderlin may as well go. He's not being used. I don't think he's going to be given an opportunity like a lot of you want him to be. So, yeah, 40 million. Would I lose any sleep over them going? No. Would I prefer it Memphis going on loan? Yes. But do I think Memphis has got a future at Manchester United? No, I don't. I don't think he is. I think he's going to go. Keen226 says that Mourinho has confirmed. Well, I'm not going anywhere. I was sitting on my knee, and it gets quite uncomfortable, so I'm just going to whack the camera down a little bit there. So Mourinho. I haven't watched the press conference today. I don't need to do stuff like that. I don't hang on words of footballers or managers at all. I like to do the United stand our own way because we are about fan opinion. But 40 million. I'd be pretty happy with that. Schneiderlin's going to go. I did say yesterday on Skype Goldbridge that I think there will be at least 3. I think there'll be more players going out of the door than there is coming in. I haven't got a problem with that. I think Mourinho needs to use people have said he needs. We've said it as well. You've said it. He needs at least 3 transfer windows. It's not all about players in the door. We all know there's a lot of deadwood and players not good enough for United in the squad. So it might be that we don't bring anybody in, but we get rid of people, and that is still being effective in the transfer window. I expect 3 to go. Maybe not permanently. Maybe more. I think Schweinsteiger will go. Schneiderlin will go. I think Memphis will go. Maybe on a loan or a permanent deal. And fingers crossed, Fellaini. Fellaini isn't going to go. I cannot see that happening. Tracy Connolly's on about Jan Vertonghen to Manchester United. Well, I can't see us signing another centre-back. Lindelof has been signing Manchester United shirts. That's a done deal. I've not heard anything different to that, and it's done. So there we go. Memphis still has time to grow, says Emmanuel. I do agree with you about Memphis there, but it's not going to be at Manchester United, unfortunately. He's had nearly 2 years, and his attitude is just wrong. He needs to go. Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, mentioned by Shay, he's come out today and said that Mourinho has said he's got a future at Manchester United. He's a decent left back. A lot of people have forgotten about him. Very tidy, got a good cross on him. Very young, good height. Yeah, Mourinho, we've seen what Mourinho can do with defenders. Mata to China, not heard about that. Rooney to China in the summer, says Hamza. I don't think he's got the intellect to go to China, to be honest. I think he'd rather stay in the UK or go to America, a bit like Gerrard. Schneiderlin to go, but Fellaini stays, says Shane, and he's basically saying, how is that possible? We don't really know. It is ridiculous, but there you go. What number will Lindelof get, says the Football Bear? Who knows? Mark, are you going to any matches this season? Not that I know of, because we do the watch-alongs, and Louise is going to get drunk if we sell Fellaini. I will drink to that. But I've had my rant about Moyes. I mean, we've got a couple of minutes towards the end of this. What are people's thoughts about Moyes? I even heard Gary Neville saying this about a month ago, and he basically tried to put us in our place on Twitter. Very much saying that Moyes should have been given more time. And I think that his issue he took with the United Stand account was that we tweeted back and said, if we'd given Moyes more time, we would have been relegated. And he said, that's bloody ridiculous. But maybe it is ridiculous. I personally remember the Moyes time very vividly. The football was awful, and the signings were bad, and nobody's good enough to go down. Don't ever think that. I mean, I think Manchester United probably are too good enough to go down, but we would have been in the bottom half under him. He was absolutely clueless and out of his depth, and I don't think the man should be given any airtime saying he deserved. I mean, what an insult. You were given. You won the lottery, David. You won the lottery. I don't know how you got that Manchester United job. You never should have been given it. This was a man who, at Everton, did quite well, but had an absolute shit record against the top 4 teams. Home and away, he couldn't beat them. Not won any trophies, to my mind. I can't remember Everton ever winning any trophies. And he was given Manchester United job. The Manchester United side that had won the Champions League twice in the last 15 years, that had won countless Premier League titles, and David Moyes was given that opportunity. And then he gets a good season and 2 transfer windows. Granted, he brought Mata in, but then he misused him. Brought Fellaini in. Played rubbish football. Had a whole season, then moans that he wasn't given long enough when he got the sack. And with God, any United fan will tell you he was given more than long enough. And yet, 3-4 years later, having seen the turmoil he caused, and Van Gaal, to be fair, he then has the cheek to come out and say, I didn't have long enough to do the job. You took over the champions, mate. You took over the champions. Mourinho's not taken over the champions. He's taken over a squad full of crap bought by you and by Van Gaal. And a squad that's become so lacking in confidence because it's had idiots like you and Van Gaal barking at it for 3 years. I just think it's an absolute cheek by Moyes. And I really have got no time for him. I can't believe that people would applaud him at Old Trafford, because I think where Manchester United are is massively down to him, but he walks around like some sort of victim. You can tell he's bloody managed the club in Liverpool, because he's got victim written all over his Gollum forehead. He just really, really winds me up. I retract the Gollum thing. It's not very nice to have a go at people because of the way they look. But you know what I mean? I'm getting wound up by him because I just think, why do the press give him any time? He's not a bloody victim. He's an instigator. He caused the trouble. Let's not forget that. Yeah, definitely. And as Schwartz vice Rotlet, he went off to Spain and messed that up. Given an opportunity there. He's not doing particularly well at Sunderland. He's virtually getting them relegated. You know, compare him to Big Sam, who I think is a crap manager as well. Moyes is doing infinitely worse. Yet he can still talk about Manchester United like he should still be there. I don't know. He's got his head so far up his backside. And when I look at that Manchester United squad, I'm one of those, probably not in the minority, but I think it splits 50-50, who people say that Sir Alex left Manchester United in a mess and it was an impossible job for anybody. Rubbish. If I was managing that Manchester United squad, whether it's FIFA or real life, I'd have relished that job and I would not have done the things that Moyes did. It was there to be worked with. You had Van Persie coming off the best season he's ever had. You had Rooney should have been sold. You know, I know a lot of people like Rooney, but that was Sir Alex was going to do it. It was the obvious thing to do when you came in. You sell Rooney, you get some money, and you bring somebody else in, and then you start to make a mould of what you want to do. He still had Evra. I mean, why Evra? And a lot of people say, Evra was finished in the Premier League, yet he's still going strong in the Serie A, and he's a leader. We should not let him go. Ferdinand and Vidic were misused. It was just it was an absolute cock. He made an absolute cock up. But I tell you what, off the pitch was where he went wrong. Backroom staff, getting rid of Sir Alex Ferguson's backroom staff, and Sir Alex has come out and said he advised him to keep that backroom staff, and Moyes arrogantly chose not to. And you know, whatever you think about Steve Round or Phil Neville or anything like that, what are they doing now? You know, what are they doing now? Are they managing any top teams in the Premier League? Are they not? Are they bollocks? You know, they're not. And the same goes for David Moyes, and that was his biggest mistake. Moyes mad, our team useless, says typical Habib Gaming. I haven't had a chance to moan about Moyes this year, so I've quite enjoyed that. What annoys me about it more than anything is that I saw Manchester United fans on Twitter today saying, you know, he's all right, and the press giving him this opportunity. I mean, this is where the media goes wrong. They just don't question anything. They don't question anything. They allow Moyes to say, well, Mourinho and Guardiola would have struggled with what I had. You know, if Mourinho had come in, and this is where Manchester United made the biggest mistake. I don't know whether, you know, he went back to Chelsea because he felt some sort of loyalty to a Russian oligarch who basically would, the minute you get a bad result, is going to sack you, and already sacked him. I don't buy that nonsense. I think Mourinho was there to be got. I think Mourinho wanted the job, and I think United didn't want to give him the job, and they've only given him the job this time because they're desperate. But Mourinho was the man to come in after Moyes, to come in after Sir Alex, and I think if we'd got Mourinho then, we would have probably won the title. We would have won the title within the first 2 years, and we'd have another title in our pocket by now, because how many years is it since Sir Alex left? 3 or 4? So Mourinho would have come in, and then that first summer he would have made signings like he's made this summer. He might have even got Zlatan then. It would have been pretty seamless, to be honest. The club is, and a lot of you still mention this, the club has not been run very well since Sir Alex left, and some would argue before. Sir Alex used to, cover it up a bit with his brilliance, but the club wasn't run well, and that Moyes appointment, you know, we tried to forget it, but it was a bad appointment. It was a bad appointment, and you know, the fans didn't make that appointment, the club made it, and it was a really bad one. Blunt says we should go back to 4-4-2. It's what United was built on. I don't think 4-4-2 really works anymore. I think you're two up front. One of them's got to be really dropping into your midfield. Striker in the window, says Guy Hewitt. I doubt it. Moyes changed too much. Should have kept Phelan and Mulestein. Then the new club, the philosophy took the training session, says Heisenberg 99. I totally agree with you. The backroom staff should have stayed, but to be honest, he was just the wrong man. He was never the right man. I could never understand why we did that. Why we did it. I understand. People say, because we wanted the new Sir Alex Ferguson, but I'm sure you've all read his books and you know the history of Sir Alex. This is a man who was, you know, pulling up trees in Scotland, breaking up the dynasty of Celtic and Rangers with Aberdeen, and winning European trophies, winning Scottish leagues. Nobody's ever done it since. You know, he was a prodigy as a manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. He wasn't just like a British manager. He was an absolute prodigy. United signed him up and he turned things around. People will throw at you, well, it took him 3 or 4 years. In fact, that's what Gary Neville said. He said, how long did it take Sir Alex Ferguson to do the job? But you know what? You don't need a weatherman to tell you when it's pissing it down. And, the club were right to give Sir Alex Ferguson the time. But as I said, Moyes had 10 months, and that was 10 months too long. He should never have been given the job. He was never going to turn it round. We wouldn't be sat here now 4 years later under Moyes going, oh, I'm glad we stuck with him. We've now won a league title with a great team that's playing great football. I think 4 years down the line, if we kept Moyes, we might even be in League Two. I think we would have been in masses and masses of trouble. And I firmly believe that. I think we were going one way. Captain Cumshot, Mark, you're not really a United fan. You said sack Moyes and Louis van Gaal. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here, mate? I mean, I don't know. So you're not a fan if you say sack a manager. I would say actually you're probably more of a fan than the fan who just sits back and says I'll go along with corporate whatever club you support. If nobody had said sack Moyes or Van Gaal and the club, I think the club would have may well have stuck with Van Gaal especially. But the pressure that the fans were putting on the club because of the bad football and the bad decisions, I think that forced the club's hand. When the fans make their feelings known, it takes a bit of a while, but the club will take note. Let's look at Crystal Palace with Pardew. And you're not a fan because you say a manager needs to go. I think if you say it within 2-3 weeks of them taking over, then probably you are. But I never wanted Moyes in the first place. I put my hand up. But with Van Gaal, he got 18 months. And I think every manager should be given that, really. But God, I hate that sort of comment as well. People who say, oh, you're not a fan if you criticise what the clubs do. Well, I'll tell you what, I was a fan before any manager, before Moyes, Van Gaal took over Manchester United, and I'll be a fan long after they've gone. The fans are the lifeblood of the club. No player will outlast you as a fan. You will be a Manchester United fan all your life, and a player can't play for Manchester United all their life. So, you know what? I think what United fans say and what United fans feel, probably more important than anybody, really. We don't get paid to support the club. We don't get paid to play for the club. We're not just doing it because the club have bought us. It's a decision we make, and we've got every right to express it. That's what the United stand is. That's what your fan opinion is. Have it. Respect it. Don't be a hypocrite. And don't ever just go along with something just because you think it doesn't make you a fan. I think that's a ridiculous point, to be honest, mate. I think, in fact, that you could say that's going to cause you issues throughout your whole life. If you're just going to go along with things because you think that's the right thing to do, you're in for a rude awakening unless you've been born with a silver spoon in your mouth, because you're going to have to make decisions and go against the grain, mate. Whether it's I respect a lot of people. I respect Mourinho. I think he's the best manager in the world, but I've openly said over this last few months that I've disagreed quite verbally with some of his things. I was really annoyed when he didn't pick Fosu Mensah and he played Ashley Young at right back, and I get really annoyed every time he uses Fellaini. However, I respect him. I think he's a brilliant manager, but I won't always agree with anybody. I think that is a very bad way of doing things, but there you go. I hate stats, Joe Butter. I absolutely abhor stats. They don't mean anything. The only stats that matter is putting the ball in the back of the net. I was on about this to Drawty today. We were talking about assists, and he was getting as angry as I was. And I said, you know what? Players with assists, what's that stat all about? I mean, Rooney's got a few assists this year, and I can't think of any good goal Rooney set up apart from that cross. I think it was against Southampton right at the start of the season where he had the freedom of Manchester to put the cross into Zlatan. I think the Zlatan goal last week, his second one at West Brom, Rooney got an assist on that because he passed it to him, and then Zlatan skipped through two players and took a shot that deflected in. That's not an assist. That should not be, that counts as an assist, and then Lingard's amazing cross that Zlatan heads home is an assist as well. There's a total different story there. And again, with take-ons, the player with the most take-ons, which is Pogba at the moment, what a load of crap that is. What an absolute nonsense stat that is. I mean, I think they're all nonsense, but the reality is, the wonder of football, why do people try and, turn it into like Moneyball? It's not that. Football's far more complex than that, because it's not like American sports that break down, you have a bloody timeout every 2 minutes. Football, the wonder of football is the fact that it's two halves of 45 minutes, and in the main, it runs freely. And no game is ever the same because it runs freely, and there's so many different, what's the word? There's a better word than this, but there's so many different things that can happen in each game that makes every game unique. Some teams will play quite defensive, some teams will play quite open, which blows away your stats and your take on straight away, because we might have played a few easier teams that come at us, but a decent team might play teams that just get 11 men behind the ball, so you're not going to have many opportunities to take on. Stats just absolute crap. They wind me right up as well. I get wind up a lot tonight. However, what I must say is that on Skype Goldbridge last night, a lot of you said, can you do another United Ramble on Christmas Eve? I said, we'll do it if we get over 700 likes on Skype Goldbridge, which we did. So tomorrow will be United Ramble Christmas Eve. I was planning on doing it 10 a.m. UK time. Keep an eye out for that. My boiler's broken down, so I've got the heating man coming round tomorrow morning to hopefully sort that out for Christmas. Bloody ridiculous. So my plan is to do it at 10 a.m. If that sort of doesn't fit in, it'll probably be 11 a.m. or 12 a.m. But it will be in the morning. I'm aiming for 10 a.m. United Ramble. If you didn't see the one I did a couple of days ago, Robbie the dog will be with me as well, and we will be talking about various Manchester United things, but more really about the year that's just gone by, and what I think about Mourinho, and some transfer stuff as well, and basically whatever you want. There's a lot of people actually trying to with their comments tonight, trying to lure me in, but it ain't going to work. Don't worry. Mark, do you have a PO box? No. Should Ryan Giggs be United manager after we try Arsene Wenger? There's a few people on the pop as well. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be back tomorrow with the United Ramble. Keep an eye out for that. Hopefully 10 a.m. UK time. It will just go live. And we've got a few other things coming up for you. Watch along live at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. And on Christmas Day, we've got the United Stand, not the Queen's speech, the United Stand speech. That'll go up at 3 o'clock on Christmas Day, UK time. But back tomorrow at 10 a.m, hopefully. United Ramble. If you've got anything you want us to talk about, get commenting below. Really enjoyed that tonight. Easy 3 points. Easy 3 points on Sunday. And Moyes just do one. I mean, never should have been given an opportunity at the club. But hopefully we'll see Mkhitaryan starting the game. Speak to you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.